SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started.
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 122 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, and we are back with a bunch of graphics in our face. But we're here, episode 122 of the In or Out Sports Debate. We got to introduce our very special guest, 15-time Vault of Fame inductee, the one and only student of the game, Kyle Nash. Welcome back there, brother.
Honor, joy, and privilege to do the thing. Looking sleek with a new coat of paint as you pull the In or Out Sports Debate back out the garage. What better choice for you to have a revving engine to race through action here than me, myself, and I jumping aboard? What can I say? Except you're welcome. I'm going full Maui on this beast. So, yeah, man, super stoked to be back. Super stoked to see you, my friend. I think this might be our second performance since I've begun stuff with Believe Network doing the Duval Dive. So yeah, man, an honor, joy, and privilege to jump aboard. Missed this show, missed you. Ooh.
Had to give you the double click on that one.
You even went cyber on the bell. I like that. Anyways, but yeah, man, I'm ready to turn into a dream come true here on the In or Out Sports Debate Show. You changed the tone right there with that one. I like it.
I did. That's where we were taking a flashback, with that. So, I've upgraded on a bunch of different things here on the page. So it's definitely been nice to make some changes and, get us more current with the times. And we even have our friend Sick Diggy in the house saying, "Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the In or Out Sports Debate. And look who's back with his devious grin," that being Kyle Nash, that he likes to talk about with the devious grin. Let's go ahead and bring you back on up here, brother. That's what he's talking about right there with his laughing emojis. You know it, and I know it. With this grin right here, you can get anything you want out here in these streets.
He's got a point. It does, without even thinking about it until just now. It does it does have that, well, you could certainly try element to it. When you look at
it. With that and the fact that the guy with the homeless hair to the left, I mean, he's looking like Kevin Nash with the championship belt, but I'm like halfway there. I'm halfway there now. We're a little over a year, 13, 14 months. June last year was when I donated it. Yeah, haven't cut it since. So it's still rocking and rolling. Kyle Nash still has the hair. I can still grow this hair. And we are here for episode 122. But as always, it's great to have you here. We've changed up how we start the show now a little bit. We'll get back to what you're used to seeing here in a little bit once we see the woo Ric Flair status. Woo! But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing on started. Take it on into round one.
Round one.
And Kyle, a team you know very well, with whom you've covered for many years now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and his wide receiver core, and especially with rookie Travis Hunter coming in, who's expected to play both ways this year. With that being said, for round one, wide receiver Parker Washington will make more of an impact on Jags offense than Travis Hunter during the 2025 season. With this topic at hand, what are your overall thoughts on it? Are you in or are you out on this?
See, Drew Willingham coming right out the mother-fathering gate with his creative wording of the question to make it just ambiguous enough. Oh, man. The Duval Debate might be unhappy with me to start with. I'm in. Now, see, here's the thing about Drew Willingham's creative wording. I can come up with creative interpretation. And one hears the term impact on offense in 2025. They're assuming things like catches and yards and things of that like, which there is a non-zero chance that Parker Washington might have more touchdowns than one Travis Hunter. I almost called him Travis T. Holmes because that's my co-host on the Duval Dive. Okay, no, not really, but boy, was that a hell of a plug. The punchline's this, though. There is the world, exactly. Where, listen, I got 2 kids. Dad jokes come naturally. But there is a world where Travis Hunter is a non-zero chance of having perhaps less yards than Parker Washington, depending on how certain things go. We have no idea really how exactly Travis Hunter is going to be used. But the real reason, the answer is still that Parker Washington would have a bigger impact is in another way. When Travis Hunter gets all the focus to open the season, what am I referring to? Let's look back to 2008. Reggie Bush is drafted by the New Orleans Saints. Where am I going with this? It's a great question, Drew Willingham. I know it's going to be some mind-boggling stuff when I tell you he didn't get any carries or touches to speak of for what, about the first half of the season. Why? Because Sean Payton successfully used him as a decoy for so many things. Brian Thomas Jr. is still the main wide receiver on this offense. Parker Washington is not going to draw the attention that Travis Hunter nor De'Ami Brown would. What I think happens is you come out with a 4 wide, a 3 wide, whatever it is. Parker Washington, I don't know why Parker Washington would be on the field ahead of De'Ami Brown. Who knows? But it would be a situation where everybody else would be so covered, and all that Parker Washington then has to do is find his spot or beat the 3rd or 4th best corner on a team's roster. And that point, depth starts getting a little thinner. In my opinion, advantage Parker Washington, and impact is made. Also, let's think about the fact that Travis Hunter will need breathers throughout the year. And while, averaging 100 snaps, that's not going to happen because he's not going to play as much special teams here with the Jags. But I'll put it this way. I almost got real creative and said that Travis Hunter will have a bigger impact just because of what he's a symbol of on this team. But that's not really an impact. That's cheating. But yeah, I'm saying in because I believe it's possible. Do I think it will happen? Not necessarily.
It's a tough one to take, man. It really is. I kind of tossed back and forth with this one for a little bit. And for the sake of debate, I'm going to go out. All right. Kyle brings up a lot of great points, but even with what he said at the end, it still kind of leaves the door open for him to be wrong, right? Because he kind of seemed like second guessed him, what his take was, especially with what Jaguar Nation is going to hear from what he just said.
It's a good topic, Willingham. It's your fault.
It is. It's a great one. I worded it the way that I did. You can't get mad at the guy who wrote it, right? You just can't, because I'm trying to do my best out here to write some gold. But anyhow, with that being said, Parker Washington, the past 2 years, he got drafted in 2023. He's a 6th-round pick. Travis Hunter, we already know where he was drafted. All right, look at where he came from. He's been hyped up for this moment to play not only offense, but primarily defense. He's going to make more of an impact on defense this year than he will on offense, regardless of this statement, in my opinion, because that is where a lot of his greatness is showcased throughout his time in college football. And even in the highlights you see of him in high school leading up to when he came to college, the college atmosphere. So he's going to make more of an impact on defense for your team here in Jacksonville. He's still going to get the action on offense, but I don't feel like it's going to be as much as we saw in college regardless, because even if they do start the first game or two with that being the play where he's trying to play as many snaps as possible and they're giving him at least 20 snaps on offense, at some point, because of the speed of the game, and you're playing against some big boys, all right, and some fast dudes. This isn't Madden, man. This is not Madden, all right? Which, by the way, I've played Madden on Switch too. It's pretty mother, father, and nice. Those of you out there who wondered if with Madden come to the Switch, how it was going to be. You need to play that mother fathering game. You're going to love it. NFL on the Switch, not like it was on the Wii. The Wii, it sucked. All right, back to the topic. Parker Washington. Look at the past 2 years, Kyle Nash. Look at what this guy's done his rookie year. Played 9 games. Had 16 receptions on 21 targets. Guess how many yards he had? 130 mother, father, and 2. 130 mother, father, and 2. All right? You're a 6th-round pick. You got drafted. It's not like you're undrafted. You're undrafted. The stakes are not as high. But when you are drafted, I don't care if you're the number 1 overall pick, if you're the mother, father, and Tom Brady pick, or the Mr. Irrelevant pick, you should be able to put up more stats than that. Now, I will take all this back if I'm incorrect, and it was because of injury that he didn't play but just those 9 games. But then you fast forward to the next year. He played in 17 mother, father, and games, Kyle Nash. 17 games, year 2. Sophomore year, no slump for this guy. He had an improvement in stats. But in 17 games, Kyle Nash, 17 games, he put up 32 receptions. 17 games. Was it like a little less than 2 receptions a game? Played all 17. All 17, Kyle Nash. And then you put up that on 51 targets. You caught 32 passes, 51 targets. Congratulations. Parker Washington. 390 yards in just those 32 receptions. Yes, he averaged 12 yards per catch, but he was only afforded 32 receptions out of those 51 targets. Out of 2 years of play, 2 in his first year and 3 last year, he had 5 touchdowns. I don't think that with everything we just stated, with Parker Washington will make more of an impact. I say out, because even though Travis Hunter might only have 20 snaps a game on offense throughout the entirety of the game, you give him 20 opportunities throughout those. Well, he might not have the ball 20, let's say 15, and he hauls in 12 of them. And I don't even think he's going to be missing even that many of the targets. He catches 12 passes. He's going to average more than what Parker Washington did even last year. Even if Parker Washington continuously improves his numbers like he did from first year to second year, but in 17 games, you only put up those numbers. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about that. And yes, you put him on special teams. He was a returner. You know, he had 12 attempts at returning the ball in 2023 and 6 in 2024. But for the amount of time he's played, the amount of games he's played, the amount of snaps he's played, this man should have more than 390 yards on 32 catches and played all 17 games last year. If you're doing that, there's no way that you are going to outplay this kid right here, who is in his prime right now, clicking on all cylinders. Travis Hunter is going to outduel Parker Washington. That's why I had to say, for the sake of debate, I am out. What do you think, Kyle Nash?
Well, my challenge is, you see, this is how I'm going to, folks, I'm going to take my first shots fired here at the host tonight. That's an argument that is made intelligently and eloquently, but it's made in in a fashion that is commensurate with somebody who's trying to tell me that LeBron is better than Jordan. Oh no, he went there, folks. I don't have it, but you still.
You get that, Kyle Nash.
Did I? Or is it the fact that I remind you, my good friend, that Trevor Lawrence missed a large portion of last year?
Surprise, motherfucker.
Where I remind you that Brian Thomas Jr. was breaking out last year, that Mac Jones was awful pants. Then the year before that, the one you mentioned, where he had the 9 played games in 2023, Calvin Ridley was in town. They were trying to bring him back to life. And by the way, maybe you heard about this Christian Kirk dude. There were other veterans that they brought in that they paid a lot more money for, where they can keep somebody a lot cheaper, somebody on their rookie contract, by the way, Drew Willingham, to sit on the shelf and come in and take just do the commensurate stuff that needs to be done, but you don't do with dudes that you throw a butt ton of money at. And one thing you may not remember is going into 2023, and I would expect you to, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's why you have the Duval dive. We remember it, so you don't have to, my friend. I know you still remember the pain of Sam Howell, but that's because you're a Commander fan. At any rate,
wait, hang on, just to clarify, because you used to talk about how many L's. Because of the status between what I withstood with trying to stick up for the man and how you spell his name, would it be safe to say we should include this many L's in his name? I mean, come on now, Kyle Nash.
Approved. So, what? I said it's approved, Drew Willingham. What? Approved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jaden Daniels only has one L in his name. And really, that L was not his fault, in my opinion. So, shall we move on?
Plus, it would be kind of, how would you even say it without the mother, father, and L? How would you even say it?
Jaden Danny's?
Danius.
Ask and you shall receive. So, that's the thing. Has Parker Washington ever really gotten the air quotes opportunity to be a guy that can do it like that? Because he's not going to get it over Travis Hunter. There's questions, speaking of your Red Tails, by the way, whether he would get that kind of opportunity beyond De'Ami Brown, depending on how that's going, right? But inevitably, if you've seen any history with the Jacksonville Jaguars, somebody's going to miss time, and Parker Washington is going to strike, just like he did when it was, I'm going to try to get this right, him, Tim Jones, Brenton Strange, and I forget the other tight end. But those four guys who nearly put together a comeback against the Packers, ironically, when Trevor Lawrence was the one thing still healthy on that offense. So I appreciate the point of view, but I would remind people that this is no longer the pedestrian offensive one, Doug Peterson, and it's a brand new world and a new offense here. Opportunities come in these sorts of things. And as I say myself, I'm not convinced it's going to happen, but I had to say because it's a non-zero chance of existing.
Very true. It definitely brings interesting discussion with that being the first topic of the show. I believe we brought, fire from both sides of the angle of this, and, look forward to seeing how the season plays out because.
Oh, hey, you didn't even play the big picture angle with what Travis Hunter represents for the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars. What kind of impact can you put together of that? Seeing Travis Hunter in the building instead of the boring, bulky handling business? No, we got somebody in here who's saying, F them picks, trade to the top of the heap, and get Travis motherfucking Hunter. Woo!
We'll see it in time. That we still have many more episodes to come. This show will be still happening on Sundays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Sundays will still be a pretty busy day for myself. But I
think you did at least one.
But
I had to take it.
You did great. And but with seeing one of your most recent episodes and the clips, and you talking about Parker Washington, I was like, you know what? Still want to see how we can bring some fire with this one into it because it still impacts Parker Washington's production because it's like being a professional wrestler and the old guy comes in to wrestle like main event at WrestleMania, right? You're taking away a spot from somebody who's been there and been training and has been working the crowds and participating. Whereas Travis Hunter, during those whatever snaps that he participates in offense, he's going to be taking time away from the wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, depending on what package is being put out there. They're not really going to be running 4 wides, really with the way today's football is played. It's not that often you're running 4 wide because of the way the defenses are now. Like the game of football has changed so much in the last 20 years.
Not with this running back core either, by the way, here in Jacksonville. You don't run 4 wide because they can catch it too.
Very true. So it'll be interesting to see how things pan out. But will it be a season of, or will it be for the Jacksonville Jaguars? You let us know here in the comments, and we'll acknowledge it here in the program. It is Sunday, by the way, there, Kyle Nash. So, with that being said, we got to acknowledge some comments as we roll on out from this round. Homeless, more like you're gearing up for a men's shampoo commercial.
It worked for Troy Polamalu and Brett Kiesel with the beard gag. That's the point.
You don't grow beards like this without throwing some conditioning on it. Even though I haven't really done too much with it today, shampoo and everything important. It's the only way you can grow out the locks. Shout to genetics. Wouldn't be possible without it. Gotta enjoy it while you still can. 6 says he's out. Travis Hunter will have to be rotated in that wide receiver cornerback corps. The Jags have to put him in certain plays. Regardless, he's a rookie and still has to pay his dues.
I would add to 6 point by saying he was clearly wide receiver 1 as a Buffalo. I don't think that's the case here in Duval. So there's that too.
Yes. I mean, he was Shedur's number 1 target. He was also the number 1 defensive back on the team. I mean, as you're watching In or Out Sports Debate episode 122, we are live. Travis Hunter, big topic of discussion for the first round. But as we stay here for the program, we got to take it on into the next round and discuss something that's just as impactful to the game of sport.
Round 2.
That game of sports now for sports ball is basketball. We have to talk about the Orlando Magic should trade away small forward Jett Howard, as he is somewhat of LeBron James. I'm just kidding. He is a bust. When it comes to this topic right here, Kyle Nash, how are you feeling? Are you in or are you out on this one?
Well, cue up how does he say? Cue up Clay Aiken. I am out. I know when that was popular, it was an American Idol reference. What is that? Robot chicken stuff right there? Oh, no, wait, that's Ryan Seacrest. I am out. Sorry. Anyways, but the punchline is this, folks. I'm not out for the reason you think, Drew Willingham. I'm no big believer in Jett Howard. And though I'm entering year 3, covering the Orlando Magic for the Fans First Sports Network, that does not make me feel like I know enough history to really truly appreciate the position from which Jett Howard was first acquired. Here's my thing, though. Thank you, sir. Here's my thing, though. I bust is such a strong word. I shy from that, but he has certainly been not what they've hoped for. But the reason you don't trade him, Drew Willingham, is what the hell will they actually get back? And in a world where you're looking to save some sort of cap action here, when you're the Orlando Magic, you've just brought in Desmond Bane. You've given max deals to Franz Wagner, to Paolo Banchero. Tyus Jones, by the way, was brought into the building. All this revamp was done, and now the talk of the Magic is an apron team, and then they're who I would call their 6th man in Mo Wagner had to get finagled to sign another single-year contract for the money that he was. Listen, it's not whatever you get back, especially in a league like the NBA where you have to have commensurate contracts in the deal. In a world where all that's in play, what would you actually get back from a Jett Howard that another team would participate in? Screw it. At this point, you might as well keep him. He's a known commodity. You know the things he can do well. You've become rather intimate and familiar with the things that he cannot. I don't even think he's a second rotation player today. That's fine. You need him somewhere. I'm not here to say he's going to be a 2-way player that you'll see him playing with the Lakeland or in Lakeland with the Magic on the G League team or any of that. But the main reason I'm out is you won't get enough back for this to be worthwhile. I think Howard, I even hesitate to throw around the word disappointment, but I'm sure Magic fans feel it. But yeah, it's why you won't get enough back. It doesn't matter.
Very, very well said, Kyle Nash. And looking at this and the take on it, you're thinking the same way I am in most parts of this, and that's why I'm going to agree with you here and go out as well. Yeah, there's not really much you're going to get back. I mean, his 11th overall pick 2 years ago, pretty much a lottery pick, with just outside the top 10, which still in that range, you still have pretty high expectations, and not as high as a top 5 pick, but you still have high expectations. And especially going into your third year, you're going through training now, getting ready for the start of the season here in the next couple months. And if all these talks are coming out about pretty much just how you're just not fitting in with the system and your lack of production on the floor and lack of development, it's not because necessarily the coaching that's there. By this point, going into your third season, you should definitely know the league well enough to be able to produce just as high of the numbers of what a top 11 pick should be producing. So right here and now, Kyle, you pretty much broke this thing down to a T. There's not really too much I can add here. You took a lot of things I was going to say and put it on out there. So I just wanted to say, I agree with you.
To hear somebody say that I did that in my third language might be the biggest compliment I've gotten. I'm still working on full NBA fluency. Like, I know what an apron team is, and I know it sucks if your contract's there. Don't ask me the rules, man. I don't have them yet.
Yeah. And even Six said you had a good point. So, I mean, with that, there was nothing I could argue. Even if I wanted it just to be for the sake of debate and, just throw things out there, I couldn't, just because there's really, for what you invested in him with that pick, you're not going to get back what you invested at this point. Sure. So with that, so you might as well just let the contract play out and see what goes from here. See if something can spark in this third season with where you put him at. And Six said he's out as well. Unless another team sees potential in him, who would be interested in trading for him? It's a gamble. There's other players that have been like in his position in the past who people have traded for and they've worked out, not to the level of what a top 11 pick would be, you would think of, but it's been historically proven that there can be a place for them.
Yeah, and there's been enough movement for the Magic lately. Right now, they're understanding that the fact that the East is currently a power vacuum and that they have an opportunity to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this season, especially if they don't have all three of their major guys, out. What was it? What's the stat? I don't know if you've heard it yet, Drew. 6 games in, I think it's 96 minutes, that Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Jalen Suggs played together. That's asinine. Your big three played together 6 games. What do we do? So, yeah, Jett Howard can just sit on the bench and come in and support, and hopefully nights that they should have closed out last year easily, like the back-to-back Raptors losses, for example, at flipping home. Him being available for games like that, if the Magic do what they're supposed to do and they find themselves in position to coast on occasion, him coming in, making sure that he can stack a couple dubs while the starters are getting load management rest, which they do in this portion of the NBA, whether you like it or not. I know we don't, but yeah, this is Jett Howard's role, regardless of what his draft pick was. And it is what it is. Sometimes you just miss. You can't get Anthony Black and Paolo Banchero and Tristan da Silva all the time. I'm just saying.
You can't. You really can't. There's rules in place for a reason with how drafts are, even though I still think it's weird that the Mavericks got the pick that they got this year just because they traded. It just seems like just because you trade Luka, you're up there for the higher percentage to get the pick. I mean, what do they throw extra golf balls or extra ping pong balls in there with your – how does that even work with that? I've always wondered that. Like, if you
have the number one pick, as we would know it in the NFL world, like they get the most ping pong balls in the rotation. There's an actual breakdown of the probability for each of the picks that gets a ping pong ball in there, and much like the Magic did when they were back to back, getting Shaq and Anthony Hardaway, allegedly the Mavs just got lucky. Or you could be very accurately and correctly wearing a tinfoil hat, thinking the league's trying to apologize for the loss of Luka Doncic. You do what you do. I'm just here, being.
I just wondered if they put more than one ping pong ball for the team, if that's how it worked, like to give them a higher probability based on certain scenarios. Like, usually I like how the NFL does it. Like if you were the worst team in the league, you got the pick, because you absolutely sucked. Like you were terrible. So you deserve the number 1 overall pick, or you can trade it, do whatever you want with it. But this whole ping pong ball crap, it's been a joke for several years.
Not great, Bob.
Yes, it's not. But hey, we'll see how it goes. Speaking of seeing how things go, we got actual breaking news to see what's in store for us to break here in the program. That breaking news is that we will have an episode next week, but I'm going to have to actually click breaking news again after our commercial break because the graphic did not upload, so I might have to download it again up here during the commercial break. So as I went to go click on it, I saw it was not there. So I will do that later. But
I'm in suspense. I want to know who's on that speaker. What the hell? Damn it.
I will tell you this. I will have enough time during the commercial break to develop it and bring it back on up here.
Ooh, that means I have enough time during commercial break to get more beer. Sweet.
You do. I am behaving. I'm having water because I did have a few adult beverages with the teammates after the game for a few, but then chilled for a bit, after, what I was telling you earlier. So, but water for the rest of the night and just behaving. But with that being said, I will break down the breaking news. I promise for the end of the episode. But right here and now, we're going to take this on into round 3 before we get to that mother father commercial break.
Round 3.
This one, I have to give credit to Kyle Nash for developing. Let me show that logo for that because I was asking his advice for this one, based on what I had, and what he suggested was a lot better than what I had for the original topics for this show. So we're going to go with Scott Frost made the right choice, choosing FAU transfer quarterback Cam Fancher to start week 1 here for the UCF Knights. College football, Kyle Nash, you as a reporter for this team, what are your overall thoughts on this there, sir? Are you in? Are you out?
You are out to make me a villain among all my fan base. No, maybe not the Nash, but the Jett Howard question. Listen, Scott Frost is amazing. I'm a fan of. He's had good conversations in all his press conferences. He was the coach who was there when I did my first UCF beat. I am out. Let me get this straight. You're in year 3 of the Big 12. You're trying to develop a team that it can actually compete in a power conference where last year Gus Malzahn through, in my opinion, no fault of his own, something else that UCF fans are certainly going to be ticked off if they get a hold of this video, that I believe. But that's a whole other conversation for another time. And I've commented on it at length on the Night Shift podcast, as well as on the blackandgoldbanneret.com. With all that being said, what you're telling me is the redshirt senior, the FAU / Marshall transfer is the guy you start. And I get the concept, right? It's not fair for me to comment on it this way because we're in the win now scenario of college football. If you don't return some sort of investment, people stop investing, then you stop recruiting in this league. And whether, by the way, whether it's you recruiting outside or having to recruit your own mother-fathering players because they can now jump at any moment is a whole other question. By the way, I'm not knocking the system when I say that. I think it's positive generally for the players, especially in a system that wouldn't take care of their health care appropriately if they destroyed their body in service to your program after the fact. Now at least they have some money to take care of that at the very least. Don't get me started. Shouts to Brandon Howard of CBS Sports, by the way, who first had that longer conversation with me on the Student of the Game a number of years back. Goodness gracious. Excellent bell there, Drew. Yeah, it's a far deeper conversation with how I feel about NIL and player compensation in and of itself. That being said, you took the time to pay Taven Jackson an Indiana quarterback, which again, I have questions. Not ACC quarterback bad, but you get it. You spent all this money for this kid and you're not developing him. Either he's further behind than you thought in his development, which I can't completely rule out, because we knew it wasn't going to be Ja'Carri Brown. I am a big fan of former quarterback and UCF legend Mackenzie Milton. I think he's a relatively decent coach to get Dylan Gabriel off the ground. His first stop of many throughout his college career, where he's about to get beat out by Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. Hashtag I said it. But I don't think he has enough magic to make Ja'Carri Brown able to throw the ball. So we're going to put him off to the side. You brought in Taven Jackson in a world where the talk is you're trying to develop players. But then you start Cam Fancher. Now, are you that desperate to win a bowl game to keep the alumni interested in investing in the Scott Frost 2.0 administration? Cool. I get it. I'm a capitalist at heart too, even though I think some elements of NIL were an absolute mistake in that they put in no guardrails. Again, I want the players to get theirs. Let's not get stupid. But dudes at aged, 17, 18 at the oldest, driving like Mustangs and stuff onto campus without a single snap of football, it's okay to turn an eyebrow at that. You went with experience. It tells me you either really like your offensive line or your other guys are way behind. And maybe it's less that I think Cam Fancher is an issue and more in what it tells me. And I have a number of things that Cam Fancher's alleged reporting of being the starter, it being leaked he's the starter, tells us on blackandgoldbanner.com. But yeah, it does not send the happiest message to me, Drew Willingham. Bruh. Oh no, he's on mute.
Well, at least the bruh was working.
The bruh was perfect. What I said. You're on mute, bruh. It was perfect. Yeah. Hand the claps for the win, folks. The great Drew Willingham.
I didn't know it was going to play this long. Like I thought it was. It was only for like 5 seconds. It needs to stop.
Maybe it's on loop, Drew Willingham.
It's not. I had to finish. Okay, cool.
Darn it. Right. It's long enough to think it was. I'm just saying. I'm not the producer you are, but I know enough to know. It was wild, and all I could just think of was like this stick is like, how long is this thing gonna be? Yes, I really updated the clicking of the board, but yes, our guys are here. My man, do it. The building. Let's go.
And actually, we were having the technical difficulties earlier, and I can't do it yet. I can't. I got to finish with the take. We're still in the middle of the take. Let me finish this first. I got a little bit too hype. I just need to.
Would you please shut the hell up?
For a second. That's what I just need to do. And that's what I just did during that clip. And now everything is centered to where Kyle Nash, you said you were out on this one. We're recentered back to the chi. Back to the chi here on Me Versus You for this episode of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am not muted. Here on
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
We're back. Mike is in action. And I've got to say, for the sake of debate, I am here. Plus, just wanted to see myself like a leprechaun floating around in a pot of gold. That's what I wanted to do for a second. Just one more time. We'll see it again. Floating around in a mother, father, and pot of gold. I know you like it. And why not? You can clip it out later. Let's see it one more time. You like floating around like a leprechaun. All right, back to the topic right here. Scott Frost making the right decision. Of course he made the right decision. When you have the opportunity, whether it's in football or baseball or tennis, and you have the option of someone who is naturally gifted within the sport who's left-handed, there's something about left-handed talents that just makes things more difficult for the opponent. Whether it's in baseball, they have a natural curve, a lot more clicking of a slider when they actually have it clicking on all cylinders. In football, it's just something about it is been statistically proven in the past. One, we haven't had as many in the league, and it's always fun to watch left-handed quarterbacks play because they're literally, it's a lot lower statistic than a dime a dozen nowadays. Even throughout history of the game where you actually have a left-handed impactful quarterback in the league. And, for someone to be given an opportunity to do this within a new system, yes, he just transferred, coming to a new team. You don't have as much faith in the ones that have already been on your roster up until this point because you're giving a transfer the opportunity, and that speaks volumes. It says, hey, just like you were talking about, but I'm going to say it in a different way because I don't have any affiliation to the school, so it doesn't come back on me when it comes to this. Pretty much, hey, my guys on this roster suck, so I'm going to take this transfer from another college, and I'm going to make him my guy. He's going to start up there at quarterback. Left-handy. He might even drink a few beers during the season. Call him Hefty Lefty up there, slinging the rock. Might put on 15 pounds during the season in beer, but he's going to show up every day. Not like Jared Lorenzen, but he's still going to show up every day. You know exactly who Jared Lorenzen is, and if you don't, Google him. He was the original Hefty Lefty, the original Michelin Man playing quarterback at the big-time New York Giants. Has a Super Bowl ring as a backup quarterback to Eli Manning. Go Google it. If you don't agree with me, go Google it. I'm just telling you right now, Jared Lorenzen, big-time Hefty Lefty. And you could have the beginnings of Hefty Lefty 2.0. if you wanted right here at UCF Kyle Nash, and you didn't take it. You didn't agree with Scott Frost. So now you're going to have to go up into that conference room. At the end of these games, you're going to have to look Scott Frost in the eye when he is talking about how great Cam Fancher is doing in weeks 4 and 5 and 6 when you were there asking questions. And you're going to look back on this moment where I got amped up on this show known as the Inter Sports Debate, brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
And you're gonna wish you agreed with me, my brother.
You do realize.
Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan.
Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. You do realize Cam Fancher is only 200 pounds, right? Like, what are we doing here?
He has a lot more beer to drink. You need to find a bar called The Ranch in your area, like my boys do, playing baseball league, and go drink. I know a couple of them who put on quite a bit of weight over the past few years just from drinking the adult beverages. Got a keg on their stomach. Send your quarterback. Go hang out with the football players 2 nights a week. Have a designated driver, but put on those beer pounds, okay? You can even drink what are those things nowadays? The IPAs. I still drink the old school stuff when I drink.
I don't drink that Ferengi beer.
Give me a Michelob or a Budweiser or something. Something that's American from back in the Coors, whatever. I don't care. But of course, I'm not like in my 20s pounding like 18 of them in a night or something like that.
Crazy.
Not like going to going out and doing stuff back in the day. And of course, I didn't drive when I did that. But hey, you want to have like 3 or 4 and hang out for a few hours, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a few adult beverages with that, but no liquor. No, don't you be playing around with that, y'all out there. You gotta be smart. Like my man Kyle Nash over there, just having a few adult beverages, and I'm actually behaving tonight. I got 5 in the fridge. I just feel like drinking water, and I can't even show you the can's name on there of the energy drink because that would not be appropriate. We can't risk future sponsorship being taken away because we offered somebody else's and not theirs first. So gonna keep it away. But Kyle Nash, with this topic right here, we disagree. We mother, father, and disagree. Again, twice. This is great, actually, because the last time we were on here, I felt like we were mother, father, and agreeing with everything for half the stuff with me and you. And then we had, our buddy on here, Mr. Man with two N's, which I was talking about him earlier before I went into our take, because he showed up. Sick is here as well. They're laughing hardcore about our shenanigery out here with certain things, especially with me, with disagreeing with Kyle Nash. What in the Tom and Jerry? All the transitions that we were clicking, where I was clicking at that point. And speaking of the lefty quarterback, Steve Young comes to mind.
Yeah, no, of course. And another thing too about Steve Young was his mobility. Cam Fancher, a point I did not bring up, is the least mobile of the group here too. So that'll be fascinating to see how that works out in a Scott Frost offense, considering how much Mackenzie Milton, DJ Mack, were asked to move about when they were on the field playing for Scott Frost.
Absolutely. And it's a shame when you've got other quarterbacks who've been in the system over there for a little bit and, who have had enough time to grasp it. You bring literally somebody in off of the street, Kyle Nash, and this is how your season's going to start. You're going to go with somebody who just transferred in. But this is a story that we've seen a lot of, especially over the last couple decades, of a quarterback that played somewhere else, has another year or two eligibility left, goes somewhere else, could be his second or potentially even third or fourth school within his tenure in college. So this is not the first time we've seen this, and this most certainly will not be the last time we see a quarterback transfer in and take the starting job away from somebody who's been there for a couple of years. It happens every single year. It just happens to happen at your school right now that you cover and that you are alumni of and have to be proud of.
Side note, by the way, I said DJ Mack. Technically, DJ Mack did not play under Scott Frost. That would have been under Josh Heupel. I just realized I erred on that. So details. The punchline is in that offense. Not having a mobile guy is interesting. Yeah, no, hit me with it. I deserved it on that one. But
he acknowledged.
So, hey, at day's end, I also predicted that DJ Mack would not start over Dylan Gabriel, but that is a separate conversation.
You did what, Kyle Nash?
I predicted after the spring game leading into that season that Dylan Gabriel would start over DJ Mack, who was hurt at the time, and Brandon Wimbush.
Holy! I tried to time it right.
you didn't know that, but it's a thing I did. It's just like I predict Russell Wilson would start over Tavares Jackson and Matt Flynn back in 2012, I believe that was. It's not a joke. It's a thing that happened, Drew Willingham.
We're having fun out here tonight. Kyle Nash is with me, and he is bringing the fire, as always. Had to bring the crowd on into it. If a chat box could applaud, Sick Dickie's been doing it with the smiling, with the smile laughter out there with the emojis. So I feel like it's only right that we click on the overextended applause button to round us on out to our one and only commercial break that we will have for the night. Kyle Nash needs to stock up. I need to stretch. It's been a long day. I was rolling around on the ground with a camera in my hand. You guys will see that video on this channel within the next 5 to 7 days. But before that, it's break time. Let's go ahead and take it on into that commercial break.
Hey, what's good, everybody? This is your boy Corey, host of The Grind, where we talk about all things WWE. You can catch The Grind every single Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on SIRTOBA Media. If you're not following SIRTOBA Media, then what are you doing? Like, share, subscribe. There are many different things that we have available on SIRTOBA Media for your viewing pleasure. And what else you got to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come spend some time with me. Come spend some time with my colleagues on this platform. Help us be able to bring everything that you all want to see. Matter of fact, you know what? If you ain't did it yet, I got something for you. Stay true to what you do. Stay true to why you do. And always Stay true to you.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. Hey, $ DWillie87. Go ahead, hit him up on the Cash App, and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. Slide some Willie Bucks.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Do you like talking sports? Do you like entertainment? Do you like the occasional series of heated discussions?
Are you in and out, Drew?
With that said,
Drew, I'm hearing a bunch of stuff in your mind. I know you know this team very well. Are you in and out, my friend?
Then you must see this. Drew Willingham versus random panelists. Who wins? You decide on the In or Out Sports Debate. Live. Whenever the we feel like it. Eastern Standard Time. Exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 122, brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
We are live, and Kyle Nash, it's the first time you've been on in quite some time. What are your thoughts on that commercial that we just saw for the In or Out Sports Debate? First, actual legit commercial.
It checks all the boxes, right? Fun, whimsical, a clip of me laughing, and the use of the term mother father.
Yes.
Box check. Let's go.
I mean, the biggest reactions I've gotten have especially been from whenever the bleep feel like it. Like that's of course the AI does actually say the cuss word, but luckily with my editing skills, I was able to bleep that on out. So
yes, it still delivers with the adjustment, but fortunately, by way of talking with my good friend Drew Willingham and being great enough, you get a belt, deal with it. But
I love it.
Honored and privileged enough to be in one of the circle that he shared it to, uncut, so to speak. That was funny in itself. But the beep makes it do the thing nicely. I ain't mad at it.
And I did take out a mother father out of it. I did because you got the one with that in it as well. That one I liked it, but then when I heard it edited, to me, I thought to myself, I was like, it's a little bit much with the extra mother father in there. So I took that out, and that's how that commercial was born. So just having a little fun with the editing tools, but it was long overdue. And of course, having to come up with some new content to fill some commercial space for this, to give us that, what we just had. It's nice to be able to take a few minutes of a breather, top off your cup right there and get ready to rock and roll for the last couple of rounds. And with that being said, things are a little bit different now. We've ran through pretty much all the numbers you could possibly run through. So with that being said, no more usuals for round 4, but I still gave you an interesting one. It's actually a repeat of last week just because I want your reaction here for round 4.
Round 4.
And here with round 4, when it comes to LeBron James, will not be on the LA Lakers roster for game 1 of the 2025-2026 season. When you think about this one in depth, Kyle Nash, all the rumors swirling around about K and where he could possibly end up. Will it happen before game 1 and he's elsewhere and you're in? Or will you be out on this one?
First of all, he ain't my mother, father, and king. I just think you hate a little too much, and I don't want you to hurt your back when you say it. Okay, let's.
Hey!
Damn, you're even grint your. Hey! Like the dentist is getting involved with this trash, bro. Take it easy. Snap. I'm resisting the urge to use frosty adult beverage language on you. You're so into it. No, but like, so if the statement is LeBron James will not be a Laker in game one, yeah, I'm out.
Ooh.
Much like the Jett Howard situation, which, by the way, if you had Jett Howard comparisons to LeBron mother-fathering James on your bingo card, burn your bingo card. What the F? Anyways, who's really that interested in the King being on the floor, right? Yo, King being on the floor, right? I'm going to do it much more subdued. I have a family to think about, Drew Willingham. I don't want to hurt myself. But, I just don't see a deal matriculating in this instance. Anybody who needs him he's not going to go like, look, listen, it's not like the Washington Wizards are getting LeBron James. Can we be clear about that? Okay. Yeah, exactly. A definite dream world for that to happen. And even still, what difference could he really make for the Wizards anyway? No, Braun, if he went anywhere, would go somewhere that they had an actual title shot. And frankly, I don't think he's going to go to the Knicks because of the ownership there and him not being incredibly fond of them. There's that. Maybe Cleveland, but do you expect that to go well? Yeah, exactly. But do you expect that to go well with him and Donnie Mitch trying to get chemistry? I don't necessarily either. Listen, exactly. It's just, and by the way, no shade at Donnie Mitch. That's my dude right there. I know I cover the Magic, but I have earned respect for Donovan Mitchell covering him as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers when he's here in Orlando. But all the claps for Donovan Mitchell. But I just don't see a team that bites when it comes to, hey, sure, he's the second best player to ever do the thing. Fine. But he's 40 what now? No, who takes it? Give me a spot where he could land and it actually makes sense and it's not something out of an EA Live 95 trade. That's right. I went 30 years video gaming old school on this beast, right? So yeah, I don't see it, Drew.
Okay. All right. So you're out. You know, right now at this time, Kyle Nash, we'll be honest, because last week I had a take on this. And from last Sunday to now, from that episode to here and what has transpired, I honestly can't even remember what I said. So regardless of what I said last week, we'll see what I'm feeling today. But just because I need to disagree with Kyle Nash, I'm going to go in leprechaun status. Here I go again on my own. That's how I feel because Kyle Nash picking his pick, and I'm over here like a leprechaun picking up a pot of gold. Yeah, it was deserving of the double click. You know you liked it. Now, right here and now, when it comes to this topic, LeBron James, yo king. Oh, it's so I'm just still in awe of people out there who say that he is their king.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby. Let me be clear. That's not me.
It is not you, Kyle Nash, but it is many others out there who want to sit there and say, he's the greatest of all time. Well, guess what?
You guys want to hear a fucking story?
The story is this. It's not the mother, father, and greatest of all time. You know it, and I know it. Don't you sit here and say otherwise. Don't even try to say it in the comments. There's nobody out here who thinks that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, who isn't on drugs, okay? Now, let's sit back in the chair and relax for a second. Because LeBron James, in this statement right here, everything I just said has nothing to do with the statement at hand. That's the beautiful thing. As we look back at this, for the LeBron James will not be on the LA Lakers roster for game one of the 2025-2026 season. Kyle Nash. When you look at this man's career and what he has accomplished, you know what? You're back but it's back to me for a second. I want to zoom in. No, not that way. You do what you're told. You listen to me. StreamYard is not doing what it's told, Kyle Nash.
I believe.
You know what? Let's just have you there. You need to be here, but I need to still be.
You want to see my reaction. I get it.
Yes, but in a different light. StreamYard was being a mother father, and I'm really having a hard time censoring myself right now, okay?
I believe it.
You know, the emotions have been in check this week, but you look back right now at this topic at hand, LeBron James, he needs to go somewhere else. The Lakers, this drama, the Lakers remind me a lot of the New York Yankees of baseball. There's so much drama throughout a season. Now, it's bad when the Lakers and their drama with LeBron James have kind of overshadowed the Yankees over the last few years. And we really haven't heard as much of the drama with the Yankees in baseball as we've heard about with LeBron James. And if he's staying or going, or if he rigged the draft for his kid, or whatever the case may be. All right. It's time, if you really want the Lakers to be truly successful, because the man opted into his contract, $50-some million for this year. When you're getting paid that much, you are not helping your team's salary cap, and you're not helping them be able to afford other pieces to make the team better. So that's literally you saying you don't care. But who's literally going to assume that contract? It's going to be a team, Kyle Nash, that has a chance to win, but also realizes that even though LeBron is not who he used to be, and part of this contract that he's getting paid for this year is like services rendered of the past, like other players have received. Like Kobe was getting ridiculously paid towards the end because he took pay cuts throughout his time with the Lakers so they could win championships. So even though they were bad towards the end, he was getting paid. I think of that similar to what LeBron's doing now, because when he got paid to go to Miami, he was taking a deal, and so were Chris Bosh and Wade. Well, Wade and LeBron took deals so Bosh could get paid and come to the Heat, is literally what it was. Now you have LeBron James, who you have the opportunity to do that for Luka, because Luka's coming in. If he's taking over, then you take the deal this offseason, you restructure that, you restructure your contract so they can bring in another piece, and you stay competitive within the West. This current roster right now can't fumble expletive their way out of a paper bag. And you fill in the blank for that expletive. It starts with an F, ends with a K. All right. That's how it is. But we behave on this program. We don't cuss, or at least try not to. I do that on my Shenanigans podcast, which is on hiatus now. I'm behaving now for the rest
Do you
of the
mean D. Willie in the evening?
Yes, which I have developed a commercial for that, but I just haven't worked into the mix yet. But that one, it's not as good as the In-N-Out Sports Debate one we watched earlier. But right now, we got to go back to Yo K.
Say what again? Say what again?
You know it, and I know it. As much as I want to say this to LeBron James.
Stop it. Get some help.
With restructuring the deal so that way that you can stay with the Lakers and everybody shut the expletive up. But no, cue it, Bishop Bullwinkle.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, to the no.
People who want to see something special in LA, and no, I'm not even a fan of the Lakers. Actually, I think of them as the Yankees of basketball, and I don't want them to be successful. So on the personal side, the homer side of me, I don't want to see them do the things I'm about to say. But if you really wanted them to be successful, LeBron, you would have taken it at least $15 to $20 million less this season and let them invest that into another player, that you have another weapon to go alongside you and Luka. So that way you can rotate your bench in there. You can still be there with some positive energy to help your son develop into potentially a decent player for the next 10 plus years, 10, 12 years, if possible. If you don't burn him out with all this media nonsense beforehand and your debacles with Screaming A. Smith, okay? And that situation is taking a big old fat old stinking. But I digress. When it comes to the situation of Yo K, I just think that even though this is more of a think and a want, this is not potentially going to be, this topic's more so going to be in favor of Kyle Nash for game 1 of the NBA season. This is going to work in his favor. But right here and now, going back to the hatred that I have of yes, there is a little bit, and it's more so the drama that comes from, we've seen so much since the kid came out of high school. It's just been, he's been overly hyped. He is not a king. When you go to the finals 10 times and you only win 4 times out of those 10, you are not a king. You need to spend more time doing not what this guy's doing.
But we talking about practice, man. What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man. When you come in the arena and you see me play, don't you?
Absolutely.
You see me give everything I got, right?
Absolutely.
But we talking about practice right now.
Talking about practice, Kyle Nash. Spend more time in the gym and less on social media. We're having your minions speak for you out here in these streams. Speaking of speaking, we got to say this to the chat.
What's that? What's that?
For those of you bringing the comments live, whether you're watching this on YouTube, Twitter, which we still call it, not that stupid expletive X. All right?
I got a family. I can't be telling people I'm on X, okay? That just sounds wrong.
No, it just makes you have to waste time doing drug tests that we already know the results are going to be of. And I know that you are not like Cowboy fans, so we'll be back to here, okay? Because if you think they're going to the Super Bowl, and I'm speaking to Cowboy fans who think they're going to the Super Bowl this year, you need to be voluntarily drug tested tomorrow. You just involuntarily, whatever the case may be. You think of it how you wish, because no, we're Speaking of which,
about now, I feel like you're wishing you had an Afro Man clip. I'm just throwing that out there, right?
Ooh.
I got the wheels.
You did. Yes, you did. You got him spinning really good.
Let me talk to you.
Yes. I'm gonna literally take that and do this without running away from the
You're tripping about the whole situation. Let me get my husband on the line.
Without running away from law enforcement, my message with that is I'm taking that idea and I'm running with it. I'm going to basically have to develop something in the near future because people out there, and just substitute this with crack cocaine.
Stay off the weed.
Because you got to be smoking crack if you think that the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
Now shut your bitch ass up.
You know it, and I know it, Kyle Nash. He cussed, not me. All right. Now, back to the comment section. As speaking of which, Sick Dicky says, and you can never go wrong with Stephanie Vauquer in that commercial when she was doing that backwards moonsault, the backflip off the top turnbuckle right there as Jey Uso was going to eat.
To say it out loud, but I know what you're talking about. Yes, sir.
Yes. She has some great wrestling moves is all I'm going to say. So that way nobody gets in trouble. But he says, I really don't care unless he's moving back to Cleveland. LeBron James isn't going anywhere. If there's one word that best describes LeBum shame, it's soft, aka soft.
He spells it with a W. I appreciate that.
You know what, Sick? You just awarded yourself this. You just awarded yourself a.
That's right.
Because you absolutely crushed it with this one. The timing on it was great. You get the round of applause as we go into his next take. If he leaves the Lakers, does Bronny go with it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's definitely been a subject and matter here with Bronny James. And you leave your kid behind. And what does that say for how he's treated in the future? I mean, he kind of has been holding his own in these summer league games for the most part, as he's gotten more time to get some more work within there. You're seeing more production rather than shade, but he just hasn't had much of an opportunity at the big stage. But at the same time, there's no really reason for him to do so, because even though the Lakers aren't where they want to be, they're still not in a position to where they're putting up enough points on the board to where they can rotate their bench players in for an extended period of time. So Bronny's only getting a few minutes of action here and there. And, until his minutes are increased, which will come if he continues to do what he's doing in the G League, it's still going to take some time, and it might not be before LeBron rolls out. So,
well, and both of them understand better than any of us, Drew. It's a business. And Bronny may even like better not having Dad on the same roster. There's something to that.
Yeah, because it's like kind of like into an extension of a helicopter parent being there around you and not letting you kind of breathe. You're a young adult now. It's now time to let you flourish on your own, So he also says, plus Jordan never had to play a game 7 in each of the NBA finals he's ever played. He's 6 for 6, and he is not 4 of 10.
See, and the reason why I hate this argument, Sick, isn't because of anything that I think it's false. Obviously, that's factually true. What you do when you do that is you cheapen the East in the NBA and what they were in that era. Okay. The reason why Jordan crushed the West when he got there is the West were not what they are now in the NBA. And the Knicks, the Celtics, the Pistons, teams of that caliber back then, the Magic in their prime as a franchise, at least in my opinion, argue with your mama if you want to cheapen that I hate that argument about the finals, because it just completely depletes how great the NBA East was and how the trip through the playoffs really was harder than the finals. So no, you can miss me with that argument, Sick, with all due respect, my friend.
Said he doubled that. Even worse if I was involved with a woman named Molly.
Well, because of the conversation
when you were talking about you weren't going to be on X.
Yes, that's correct. That's
Oh, indeed, the East was brutal when Jordan was playing. Yes, it was a lot harder.
There's a reason Jordan was eliminated twice in the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but it made him stronger.
Absolutely,
it made him more competitive for the future. He knew what he had to bring himself up to and the level of play that needed to come out of him, so that way he could bring his teammates up enough to get over the hump. So he did. And we saw some greatness as a result of that. With that being said, it's now time to take it on into the final round. See what we have in store here for episode 122.
Final round.
And here for the final round, the 49ers made a mistake in trading for wide receiver Sky Moore. Kyle Nash, we go from a team that you cover to a team that you favor. What do you feel when it comes to this? Are you in or are you out on this one?
The statement is that they made a mistake. Yeah, I'm out. And let me be clear. By the way, I'm noticing the convenience that the color on the out is severely close to 49er colors by pure accident. The punchline is this. Let me get this straight. We don't need to talk about all the receivers that have parted ways lately. We don't need to talk about all the long list of injuries beyond one fact. Brian Robinson is being acquired by the Niners recently. Your former, by the way, Washington Commander running back, Brian Robinson, who absolutely had one of the best stories in recovering from being shot. Much like one of the Niners receivers was. When they're making jokes that it's gunshot rehab with the 49ers, you know exactly why they got Sky Moore. It's because of all the bleeding injuries, folks. By the way, as a side note, they just paid the bleep out of Brock Purdy, for those of you who are hidden under a rock, and everybody else is a year older who was a great contributor. It's not so much that they picked Sky Moore, is that he's what was left at this point in the season with all the injuries, okay? I'm not saying it's LA Rams a few years back bad when Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are both hurt at the same time. By the way, Cooper Kupp, not even a Ram, is still something I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, what else is? I wish I was joking, Drew Willingham, but for me, how can you knock the move? This is just where they're at until people get healthy. Who knows? Maybe Sky Moore shows out. I doubt it, but for right now, he's just abiding to get people to where they need to be at this juncture. I have no idea how on earth you hold that against the San Francisco 49ers.
Kyle Nash. This has been pretty fun tonight. We have disagreed several times on this show. We have brought literally like the background is the mother, father, and fire to the program, to the platform. I missed you, my friend. This has been great, and it's going to be great one more time. Bringing the fire to my man with a bunch of leprechauns in the background. We're going with the pot of gold because I'm in. I needed that, Kyle Nash. I needed to see the pot of gold and the invisible leprechauns one more time. You know it, and I know it. Sup, everybody? You like searching for gold? You like searching for leprechauns you can't see because they're invisible? Let's try it one more time because I'm in.
When did this become a D. Willie segment?
We all needed this today. You need it, and I need it. You need me to be at my all-time high on shenanigery for this episode.
I'm just asking the question. That's not a criticism.
Oh no. It's I'm doing it for this on the chest right now. Doing it for this because they need it. I'm gonna be taking a whole bunch of clips out of this, putting them on the interwebs, and me acting stupid will bring joy to others. It just does it. Who doesn't like looking for invisible leprechauns in a pot of gold? All right, I'm done. All right, I'm done. I had to. I was just feeling it. But here for the final round, right? I'm in for the factor of, Sky Moore's been on the Chiefs for a bit, right? He's part of a team that was successful, that was already successful when he walked in the door. All right. It wasn't Sky Moore that, yes, he did have a big catch in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and it helped them secure their last victory in that game. I give you that. He's sure as hell not going to do that for the 49ers. You're not winning a Super Bowl because of Sky Moore making a catch. And if we can look back on this clip and laugh on it, just like the one I made a few years ago about Bronny wasn't going to get to the NBA. Well, he did get to the NBA. All right. I was wrong. All right. Just like I was wrong about praising Sam Howell 2 years ago and thought he was going to do something good for the team. And he absolutely sucked to the point to where he took the big old fat old steak.
Let me talk to you.
Let that L start with a let me talk to you tonight, not an actual L. Yeah, I'm burning tonight, man. I'm ready to rock and mother father and roll with this. It's Kyle Nash, you little mother father, right to me where I'm burning hot. All right. You're going to sit up here and play Homer for the 49ers. He's not going to be your Brandon Ayuk. Even if Brandon Ayuk, for some reason, hurt his pinky hurt so bad that he can't play for 17 games, even though I'm saying that wildly because who hoists a little pinky can't play football for the entire 17-game section of the season? Nobody, not even Brandon Ayuk. But even so, I think you're going to be able to rely on Sky with 2 Ys, Moore to come on in there and win you these games. No, it's not going to happen. And plus,
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
They don't don't care, to the point that even when Jack's getting lit up in the corner, not on Jack Daniels, but Jack himself is saying this.
You can't handle the truth.
Can't, because Sky Moore is not going to be the guy for the San Francisco 49ers. Let me tell you why, and I only need one why to do so, all right? Right here and now. You just can't look back at one catch in a Super Bowl and say, this dude had enough of this to get him to the point where he's at.
What are we talking about? Practice, man. What are we talking?
Yeah, what are we talking about anyway? Because when it comes to practice, that doesn't make you the best practicing to the point to where you were bad to where you become good. You got to be good while you're practicing to become great, all right? You got there based on some talent before. You used that extra Y to get you to the NFL. You did, because you rode the wave of your college experience. Now you're in the NFL. You had one catch in the Super Bowl, made you, I wouldn't say famous, but it established yourself with 2 Ys. Well, let me tell you the why now with the one Y that you won't be able to do it. Look at Odell Beckham Jr. He had the one nice one-handed catch. Prime time. And it was actually one of the greatest catches of all time. I'll give you that, because it was nice, even though it happened for the Giants. But yes, he did get to the Super Bowl with the Rams and got hurt in the beginning of it. Still has a ring as a result because they won the game. But what big-time noise has Odell Beckham Jr. really made since that catch? Not really anything. And neither have you, Sky Moore. You're still a plug-and-play player, and you are going to be the same type of player for the San Francisco 49ers because you are a system guy. And looking at the 2 systems, Kyle Nash, you know you got offensive guru in Kansas City with Andy Reid. You got another one with Kyle Shanahan. If Andy Reid cannot take you and you are a superstar wide receiver, okay? He takes you like you got Travis Kelce. You drafted for Xavier Worthy after you had Sky Moore because the players on your roster, you weren't living up to the par of what you saw in the first round that was available for you, that it was worthy enough of you taking Worthy, no pun intended, at that pick. Now back to this. You just trade away a guy you've only had for a few years, and he's supposedly the man because he made the catch for you in the Super Bowl. I can't give it to you. And that's the why with one Y, Kyle Nash. That's the one. Whether you like it or not, whether I threw some wild stuff in there, you just have to do this at the end of the day.
Acknowledge me.
Whether you like it or not.
For clarity, regardless of the flaws in your argument, I have always acknowledged the tribal chief of the SIRTOBA Media network here. So let's be clear about that. Hey,
acknowledge me.
But
you did.
Listen, when it comes to the rest of the 49ers roster, beyond Jawan Jennings, Brendan Ayuk, and of course Ricky Purcell, the aforementioned person who recovered from a gunshot, it's more like John Cena, in that you can't see them. You don't know these names. That's why Sky Moore makes sense. He's not trying to be the man, as you eloquently put it. He's trying to be their edition of Parker Washington. That's how far Sky Moore has fallen, and that's why he finds a spot here. Who's left? Sky Moore, you made a great catch one time when it mattered, and it's fantastic. Malcolm Butler did the same thing thanks to Pete Carroll. We all understand that. That's right, I'm throwing shade at Pete Carroll because I can. Thank you. A, B. All he's there to do is to be Parker Washington. Maybe they're overpaying it, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And again, decimated with injuries at this point in time, who's to say they hold on to him for any length of time? Maybe they trade him before the deadline and get something further beyond him. And then John Lynch once again declares victory in the front office doing moves. I really wish his drafting record was better lately too. I mean, sure, you got Brock Purdy, and that's nice. Name me somebody else they've drafted well the past couple of years. Don't call me a homer. I acknowledge that as a fact, my friend, okay? So all that to say, I mentioned desperate times, calling for desperate measures. Folks, the 49ers are desperate, and I'll say this loud because I said it on the Betting with Behrman podcast a while back when I did that. By the way, no better compliment one can get as somebody who does not partake of the gaming to have a dude that hosts a betting show say he's going to bet one of your predictions. That's some stuff right there. I don't think we're in a world where the 49ers win the bleeding NFC West. That's where they're at. They're that thin with young players and their old players. If they were any longer in the tooth, they would be called saber tooth and get attacked by Hugh Jackman. Okay. So, yeah, that's where the Niners are at in all their glory, right? So I think what I'm landing the play with is I don't fault the Niners for taking Sky Moore. There's other places where they have more. Sky Moore is a symptom, not a problem, sir.
So you think it's going to be a season of this for the 49ers and facing good competition?
I think that's the playoffs talking, sir.
Just when you see that happen, and I'm hoping not for your sake, because nobody wants to wish another fellow friend's team who they're a fan of, any bad ill will, except that when they play their team. Okay.
Well, of course, the Cowboys.
Yeah. And we all agree we want to see the Cowboys lose every single game that they play. But that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But with this, Kyle Nash and his season, I hope it is not a...
Hey, me too. But I'm not one of these entitled fans that demands victory every year. We'd rather have it, but the reality of sports is sometimes it's just not your year.
And Six says when it comes to the 49ers, they have plenty of receivers on the roster. Moore will have to be a rotation player.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
By the way, a lot of those receivers currently hurt.
Mm-hmm. And this might be a new opportunity where, he might be able to shine, but I am going to be the one who disagrees, whether it's or not, or a moment for me, because I'm going against you. I'm going to sit here and say, and hopefully we look back on this later and you say,
hey, for all the times that I have shut down your arguments, even situations where I've randomly pulled up a pair of glasses to go nerd on you on your show, the fact you come back for more is something that I honor and enjoy. I don't talk trash on that. I'm going to give you all the honey, especially when it comes to the Winnie the Pooh host take.
And that situation still brings this to my ears. Oh, this has been a great episode, and we have hashed it out and discussed many things. Disagreed. We agreed, I think, once, but throughout the entirety of the episode, it was definitely great in disagreement with the legendary Kyle Nash. And there's one thing that we do on every single episode that we have to acknowledge, and it's time for Kyle Nash that we do the same.
Acknowledge me.
It's time that we acknowledge Kyle Nash becoming the Ric Flair of the program, tying Rob Johnson in second place with now 16 times Vault of Fame inductee Kyle Nash. You go in there with the Leprechaun's pot of gold, hanging on out in the vault with everybody else. And now for the 16th time, there you are, my friend, a Vault of Fame inductee.
That's right. I might be 6'5" and 286 pounds, but I have a green tie, so still technically I can fake it as a leprechaun. There you go. Give me gold there, Drew Willingham. It's time. Hi.
The updates with the vault, and you going on in there now, tying Rob Johnson for second on the leaderboard all time, being here on the In or Out Sports Debate with 16 times Vault of Fame inductee, only a few behind Joey Raymond. You're creeping on up there, Kyle Nash.
Make sure you tell Boy Wonder I'm creeping up.
I'll try. We'll see if he acknowledges myself or not. But when it comes to this, you are tied with Rob Johnson, who will be on here very soon. We've already been making it in the works here behind the scenes, and hopefully it'll be sooner than later, and we can get a trios edition between the two of you, duking it out for second place, or maybe even getting closer to first. But Kyle Nash, there's one thing that we do on every episode, and now we do it after the induction of the newest member of the Vault of Fame, and that's look back on what in the mother father scenarios of events got us here.
Acknowledge me.
I want to take this time to kind of shout you out, Drew. You have taken a concept and made it into a whirlwind of fun for a lot of people. I know for myself. Dude, I am proud of you, man. I want you to continue to do what you're doing. But the concept that you came up with, how much you put into it, how much you've changed it, how much you add to it, the work shows, man. So kudos to yourself. Round of applause for you, man. And just wanted to say thank you for having me on again. It was a lot of fun. Look forward to the next one.
Shout out to Drew for letting me come on the show. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, didn't know what to expect coming into this, and I am super happy that I agreed to come on to this because it was a blast, well-produced show. Honestly, extremely impressed by all the effort you put into this show, Drew. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to coming back on in the future.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Outs Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
And now for the 122nd time, we have another member into the Vault of Fame again. Woo! Ric Flair. My man, Kyle Nash, has made it in here once again for the 16th time. And just like all the other episodes, we've only got one more thing left to do before we see that outro, and that is take it to the final word. And here with the final word, just like before, whatever is on our mind, sports related, news related, or just what's in the heart. Whatever you got to say, Kyle Nash, get it on out here with the final word, my man.
Well, yeah, I need to get this out and quick here to do my part just to be a good performer. But listen, this is also an opportunity to bring out the one show of mine that I haven't had a chance to talk about. That's being the producer for Booga Peters and the Bolt Blitz Uncut. Watching this group makes me realize, again, something I already knew about how important the offensive line is and the injuries they have taken, I should say, with Mekhi Becton, with Slater getting hurt. He's going to be missing time in an injury where if he comes back, he likely won't be the same guy ever again. And Justin Herbert's going to be thrown into just the fire once again by people who don't watch film, like Emmanuel Acho that throws Trevor Lawrence under the bus. However, in saying all that, it also reminds me of the take I had, I think it's now 2 months ago, on the Duval Dive, Drew Willingham. I was asked to give my crackheadiest take, in the words of the person who was asking the question in our grab bag, saying that, in my response to that for giving a crackheadiest take, I should say, was saying that the Jacksonville Jaguars can win the AFC South. And now, having seen this offensive line at its floor be higher than anything I've seen yet, as somebody who covers said Jacksonville Jaguars, I am proven once again, just like every other philosopher who has preached trench warfare, that the trenches matter more than anything else. The Jacksonville Jaguars are dangerous because their offensive line is in flux. Why? Because it instills in me the idea, and any NFL fan, regardless of whether you remember the Duval Devout, that if the O-line sucks, nothing else matters. The Chargers may struggle this year because of it. The Jags are better because of it. Sure, both teams may only win 8 games and miss the playoffs. That's fine, but they're there for two very different reasons. The Chargers are disappointments because of injury, and the Jags are better because they addressed, finally, an issue. And that's leave all that at that. I'm going to let you take your floor, my guy.
My man, it's a great take. You came in here with the fire tonight, came in here guns blazing from start to finish. And I couldn't have asked for anybody else to come in here and be there, for this time. It was meant for you to be here tonight, Kyle Nash, with the challenges that have come from this week. And I will talk about that here with this one. But, thank you again, as always, for being there, being supportive. That is why you are a Ric Flair of the program, my man. Well, for my final take, I'm going to actually take away the graphic here, the scroll, and I'm going to take away the background here as well. And this is just going to be a plain one from the heart, ladies and gentlemen, with the background being gone with this. This is going to be a multi-purpose take, because with the way this past week has been for me personally, it's been tough to do certain things. And I actually accomplished a whole lot this weekend that I normally would not have been able to do on the side because of it. It was like something came over me. This has been a very, very, very difficult week. I don't want to play a bunch of moving graphics or whatnot for this whole thing, but I'll at least bring this up. Earlier today, I went and filmed this right here for a fallen teammate who last Sunday was taken from everyone in an unexpected, tragic car accident while he was on the way to play in a baseball game. Starting the outfield, play with his brothers like he did every single weekend, working, full-time in HVAC, and playing baseball with his brothers on the weekends. We spent several summers together as teammates, repping these colors right here. I'll show a couple pictures here at the end, but I recorded something, a bunch of interviews earlier today, and what I said, it because I was kind of put on the spot, and my anxiousness throughout the entirety of that, and just getting as much content as I could. I wasn't really fully there up here to really say what I should and what should be best for the video. So I'm going to kind of do that here. So that way I can clip this out and put this in there. Tavon was a teammate of mine for several seasons. He brought a lot of positive energy, goofiness, always cutting it up with all of his teammates. It was absolutely fun to watch in the outfield. It was fun every single time he would go up to the bat and would do his little bat flips. But, he had a huge impact on me a few years back when I was at my worst, physically, not really taking the best care of myself, and ended up having a mini stroke. And now, looking back on it, he was one of those who actually kept up with me through phone calls and not through text. And he made a huge impact on me more than he really understood, even though I let him know. And this past weekend, I spent, around my old baseball brothers, got content to put a video together. And at some point here in the next week, it'll be up here on our YouTube channel. And hopefully that video will be able to put some smiles on people's faces. And during a tough time, it was tough for all of us, but I know those were closer to them throughout the years. It's hitting them even harder now. So with all this being said, I just wanted to take this time to, basically, I want to say I want to dedicate this episode to him and to our teammates, to our fallen brother, Tavon Dawson. In memory of him, we'll always remember his positivity and his passion for life. May he rest in peace. From the team that you started with back in the day right here that absolutely was terrible the first couple of years. And this was our first win. We had to take a picture right here. When we got our first win of the season, we had to take a picture. And this was him on the far right. He said, "Strike a pose." And then we took this picture right here. And it's moments like that I look back and think on, as we huddle up here after that picture. It was a great moment. But for him today, I was able to be there and get this content. I'm going to be looking forward to looking at that here later tonight, seeing what we got and chopping some things up and getting it started. So again, just want to dedicate this program and that as well to our fallen brother from this past week, who was tragically taken from us. And look forward to putting something really special together this week for him. So with all that being said, Kyle Nash and I, with our final words of the program for episode 122 of the In or Out Sports Debate. Oh, wow, I said that completely bad. In or Out Sports Debate, brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
I said debate. I just took the big old feel like that's Tavon messing with me. I feel like he messed with me to say that because that would be something that he would do. He'd be messing with me on that one. But as difficult as week has been, I'm just glad that I was included with all that stuff, and look forward to putting everything together here in the coming days. So thank you, Sick Diggy, for the condolences and the rest in peace, to his family. And here in the next 5 to 7 days, we'll have what took place on Sunday, along with some interviews in there. And it's going to look like pretty much like a news broadcast, like highlights of a game, and then interviews throughout. I got like a vision for it. And, as tough as this is, at least I got something to look forward to put together for people. So that's awesome. But with all that being said, we're going to end this on a high note. Kyle Nash, 122 episodes. Kyle Nash being here for 16 of them. There's only one more thing that we got left to tell you all, and that is from us to you, like we do in every single episode. Please stay safe out here in these streets.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.